Hello and welcome to The Social Connection. It's your program about social media news, the trends you talked about, the videos you shared and what new changes social media companies offered its users. I'm Shreya and with me is Sakal.
Hello Shreya. Hello viewers and welcome everyone to Social Connection. We are back once again with yet another edition and here we will take you to the top trends, latest news and everything that actually keeps buzzing across the social media platforms. But first up, let's take a quick look at what all we have for you in this edition.
Twitter now lets users add image descriptions to help the visually impaired.
Yahoo sets deadline for buyers to present preliminary bids.
And Japan's cutting-edge technology showcased at the OFC conference in California.
And let's start with the top stories now. Microblogging site Twitter is working to make it easier for people with visual impairments to access and understand images uploaded to the website using their assistive technology like screen readers and braille displays. And with this update, the company aims to empower everyone to ensure that content shared on Twitter is accessible to the widest possible audience.
Twitter is working to make it easier for people with visual impairments to access and understand images uploaded to the site. Although screen readers and braille technology work efficiently with text posts, images have been out of reach until now. People using the iOS and Android apps will now be able to add descriptions for images they post on the site. Using up to 420 characters, people can provide details of the image they are tweeting. The description can then be accessed by the visually impaired and be read like any other text post using their assistive technology like screen readers and braille displays. The company said that it is excited to empower our customers and publishers to make images on Twitter accessible to the widest possible audience so everyone can be included in the conversation and experience the biggest moments together. Last year, research showed that tweets with photos drive 313% higher engagement. By building the feature into the product itself, the company has simplified the process of accessing photo descriptions. Although it is unavailable on web for now, the new feature is still likely to reach the majority of Twitter's users. Out of the site's 320 million monthly active users, 80% are active users on mobile.
Next up, internet company Yahoo has given potential suitors 2 weeks to submit preliminary bids for its core web business and Asian assets, according to people familiar with the matter. Now, in letters sent to possible buyers in recent days, Yahoo advisors have asked them to submit proposals for their bids, including what assets they hope to acquire and for what price. Some buyers may be only interested in Yahoo's core web business. More details in this report. Interested bidders have 2 weeks to submit offers for Yahoo's web business and Asian assets. The Wall Street Journal reports that the internet company set on April 11th deadline for bids. Yahoo's core web business includes its email, sports and finance sites. The fated internet pioneer launched an auction of its core business in February after it shelved plans to spin off its stake in Chinese e-commerce giant Alibaba Group Holding Limited. Telecommunications company Verizon Communications Inc. and publisher Time Inc. are among the companies expected to bid for Yahoo's core business, while some private equity firms are expected to team up to make offers. By asking for preliminary bids in early April, Yahoo could potentially close a deal by June or July, when Yahoo is expected to hold its annual shareholder meeting and vote on proxy proposals. The company has yet to set a date for that meeting. Yahoo CEO Marissa Mayer, who took over in 2012 with the mission of boosting growth, is in an increasingly difficult position as she has failed to show concrete progress. Although Yahoo is one of the best-known names on the internet and is used by around 1 million people, it has fallen behind Google in internet searches and has been steadily losing ground in online advertising.
Let's move on to the other news now. Leading researchers and engineers in the optics communication industry gathered at the OFC conference in California, the largest conference for optics communications last week. Various ideas and possible solutions have been presented at this year's conference in a bid to prevent capacity crunch that enhances efficiency for existing network communication by developing both software and hardware technology. Let's take a look.
Leading researchers and engineers in the optics communication industry gathered at the OFC conference in California, the largest conference for optics communications, last week. One of the widely talked about topics include the threat of a possible capacity crunch. As capacity crunch is becoming an imminent issue with increasing demand for web-based and mobile devices, cables and optic fibers that transfer data will reach a limit, but light could be the answer to future's problem. In 2015, global mobile data traffic grew by 74% and 563 million mobile devices and connections were added, according to a recent report from Cisco. Some researchers say that the current growth in data traffic could result in capacity issues and energy consumption, leading to higher internet and mobile phone bills. Data centers, large networks of computer servers that transport data, are facing a potential dilemma of keeping up with the consumer demand for data to run their devices like smartphones and tablets. Attending this year's OFC conference is Japanese telecommunications company Nippon Telegraph and Telephone, which is actively looking ahead into the future for a solution to keep up with the global demand of data. Mobile data traffic in Japan alone is estimated to grow by 1,000 times the 2010 levels by 2025. Telecommunication sectors are struggling to keep up with consumer demands due to the surge of streaming services and internet TV. Various ideas and possible solutions have been presented at this year's conference in a bid to prevent capacity crunch that enhance efficiency for existing network communication by developing both software and hardware technology. Well, we're heading for a short commercial break. We have lots of interesting stories on the other side. Stay tuned to DD News.
Now the National News Channel of India, live on your mobile phone. Get the news on the go. Watch top videos, get the latest news and continuous news on your mobile phone. Download DD News app now. Visit the Android Play Store, search for DD News, download the app to your phone. Get the power of information at your fingertips. DD News. Only news, complete news.
हर गांव पर नजर, हर तकनीक पर पकड़, खबर मौसम की हो या हो हाट बाजार, देखते रहिए किसान समाचार रोजाना शाम 7 बजे।
डीडी किसान, बदलते भारत की शान।
ब्रेकिंग न्यूज की रेस से हटकर
खबरें कुछ अच्छी भी हैं,
खबरें जो बढ़ाएंगी हौसला और विश्वास,
उम्मीद भरी खबरें जो लाएंगी मुस्कान। गुड न्यूज इंडिया।
हर दिन बदलती खबरें, हर पल बनती नई सुर्खियां, खबरों की रफ्तार के साथ हर दोपहर दुनिया की ताजा तस्वीर। दोपहर समाचार रोजाना 2 बजे सिर्फ डीडी न्यूज पर। सुर्खियों की भीड़ में अहम खबरें, असल मुद्दे जो डालते हैं आपकी जिंदगी पर असर। दिन भर की हर बड़ी खबर का बेबाक विश्लेषण, सच, सटीक, संपूर्ण। न्यूज नाइट सोमवार से शुक्रवार रात 8 से 10 बजे सिर्फ डीडी न्यूज पर।
Welcome back. You must be familiar with the top trending topics of the week, but here's a quick wrap of the trends that rule different social media platforms.
Museums have gone digital this week with Museum Week, an international campaign on Twitter where galleries and museums from around the world share images, facts and stories from their institutions. Started on March 28th, more than 3,000 museums, galleries and cultural institutions from over 69 countries will come together on Twitter for the 3rd edition of the Museum Week. Each day, museums will keep you involved by tweeting with that day's respective hashtag. Every time you will tweet with Museum Week or the 7 daily hashtags, a Twitter emoji with the Museum Week logo will be attached to the hashtag in your tweet. Johan Cruyff's former club Barcelona led the tributes to the Dutchman on social media website Twitter after the legendary soccer player passed away on March 24th. Cruyff, one of soccer's greatest players and the most influential and visionary coaches, passed away aged 68 on Thursday after a 5-month battle with lung cancer. He joined Ajax Amsterdam as a long-haired teenager before emerging as one of the world's greats in the early 1970s. He moved to Barcelona for a then world record transfer fee of $2 million. And it was Barcelona that would later define his coaching career. Spanish giants led the tributes on social media. Players past and present were also moved to pay tribute to a player who was, in 1999, voted as the European Player of the Century, while he is often bracketed alongside Brazil's Pelé and Argentina's Diego Maradona as the 3 best players ever to grace the sport. Virat Kohli and Mitchell Johnson's rivalry is nothing new to cricket fans across the world. The right-handed batsman gave a fitting reply to the retired Aussie pacer after India's thumping win over Australia in a must-win game of the ongoing World T20. Ahead of the India vs Australia match, Johnson took to the social microblogging site Twitter and took a pot shot at Kohli. Johnson said, "Love it, went missing in World Cup semi last year when it really counts." Virat Kohli's 82 not out of 51 balls was a fitting reply to Mitchell Johnson's taunting tweet ahead of the game that he failed to perform in the World Cup semi-final last year, where he was dismissed for just 1 run. Johnson then gave Kohli his due, stating that the Indian was too good in the match. While in another Twitter banter, legendary Bollywood actor Amitabh Bachchan trolled former England cricketer Andrew Flintoff after he took a dig at Virat Kohli, saying that Kohli will be as good as Joe Root. Bachchan was quick to reply and spoke of Joe Root and uprooting him in what is expected to be a subtle yet humorous dig. Bollywood celebrities walked the ramp for celebrated Indian designer Manish Malhotra in the inaugural show of Lakme Fashion Week in Mumbai on March 29th. The spring-summer collection titled Elements was inspired from nature and featured clothes mainly in the hues of blue and white. Bollywood actors Jacqueline Fernandez and Arjun Kapoor were the showstoppers for Malhotra. While Jacqueline glittered in a shimmery silver evening gown, Arjun looked elegant in a dark blue sherwani paired with a plain silver jacket. The collection included long skirts, off-shoulder crop tops and evening gowns for women and sherwanis and suits for men. A total of 90 designers will showcase their collection at the 6-day-long fashion week. The 63rd edition of the prestigious National Film Awards were announced on March 28th in the national capital, Delhi. The awards, which recognize the best and the brightest in the film industry, were presented by President Pranab Mukherjee in the presence of heads of the 3 juries in the categories of feature films, non-feature films and best writing on cinema. Blockbuster film Bahubali: The Beginning clinched the best feature film award, while Salman Khan's starrer Bajrangi Bhaijaan was declared the best popular film. Veteran actor Amitabh Bachchan was honoured with the Best Actor award for his movie Piku, while Kangana Ranaut was declared as the Best Actress for Tanu Weds Manu Returns. Bollywood director Sanjay Leela Bhansali was announced the Best Director for his historical epic Baji Rao Mastani and was overwhelmed by his 4th win at the National Film Awards. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Belgian counterpart Charles Michel on Wednesday jointly carried out the remote technical activation of a 3.6-meter optical telescope located at Deosthal in Uttarakhand. Termed as Asia's biggest telescope, the Aryabhatta Research Institute of Observational Sciences is built with Belgian assistance. Take a look.
In a major technological advancement for astronomy in the country, Asia's largest and first of its kind optical telescope was unveiled on Wednesday evening at height of 2,500 meters above sea level at Devasthal in Nainital. During his one-day visit to Belgium, Prime Minister Narendra Modi activated Asia's largest general-purpose optical telescope, remote technical activation from Brussels, Belgium. The general-purpose optical telescope of diameter 3.6 meter and with 150 tons will help in the study and exploration of stars, planets, magnetic fields and astronomical debris. The Ares telescope has been a joint international effort by the Indian, Russian and Belgian scientists. Prime Minister Modi congratulated the scientists and said that nothing is impossible if a joint effort is made. He also quipped that even the sky is not the limit for success in mutual cooperation. The mirror of the 3.6 diameter optical telescope has been entirely coated in by the scientists and technicians of Ares in the coating facility which became operational in January 2015. Belgium funded 7% of the project, whose total cost is estimated to be more than Rs 150 crore. The telescope can be operated with the help of remote control from anywhere in the world. The feat is touted to be a great achievement of the nation and whole of scientific community.
And it's time to slip into a very short commercial break on Social Connection, but we will be shot back in a while. Don't go away. We'll be right back. You're watching DD News.
Now the National News Channel of India, live on your mobile phone. Get the news on the go. Watch top videos, get the latest news and continuous news on your mobile phone. Download DD News app now. Visit the Android Play Store, search for DD News, download the app to your phone. Get the power of information at your fingertips. DD News. Only news, complete news.
हर गांव पर नजर, हर तकनीक पर पकड़, खबर मौसम की हो या हो हाट बाजार, देखते रहिए किसान समाचार रोजाना शाम 7 बजे।
डीडी किसान, बदलते भारत की शान।
ब्रेकिंग न्यूज की रेस से हटकर
खबरें कुछ अच्छी भी हैं।
खबरें जो बढ़ाएंगी हौसला और विश्वास।
उम्मीद भरी खबरें जो लाएंगी मुस्कान। गुड न्यूज इंडिया।
हर दिन बदलती खबरें, हर पल बनती नई सुर्खियां, खबरों की रफ्तार के साथ हर दोपहर दुनिया की ताजा तस्वीर। दोपहर समाचार रोजाना 2 बजे सिर्फ डीडी न्यूज पर। सुर्खियों की भीड़ में अहम खबरें, असल मुद्दे जो डालते हैं आपकी जिंदगी पर असर। दिन भर की हर बड़ी खबर का बेबाक विश्लेषण, सच, सटीक, संपूर्ण। न्यूज नाइट सोमवार से शुक्रवार रात 8 से 10 बजे सिर्फ डीडी न्यूज पर।
Welcome back to the Social Connection. The US Justice Department said that it successfully accessed data stored on an encrypted iPhone used by one of the San Bernardino shooters and asked a court to withdraw an order compelling Apple to assist. Now, Apple CEO Tim Cook, however, said that it is their responsibility to protect the privacy of its users.
The US Justice Department said it successfully accessed data stored on an encrypted iPhone used by one of the San Bernardino shooters and asked a court to withdraw an order compelling Apple to assist, according to a court filing on 28 March. The abrupt end to a confrontation that had transfixed the tech industry was a victory for Apple, which vehemently opposed a court order obtained by the Justice Department that would have required it to write new software to get into the iPhone used by one of the shooters, Rizwan Farook. In a statement, Apple said, "From the beginning, we objected to the FBI's demand that Apple build a backdoor into the iPhone because we believed it was wrong and would set a dangerous precedent. As a result of the government's dismissal, neither of these occurred. This case should never have been brought."
We did not expect to be in this position at odds with our own government. But we believe strongly that we have a responsibility to help you protect your data and protect your privacy.
Government officials are equally insistent that all manner of criminal investigations will be crippled without access to the phone data. At issue in the case was a county-owned iPhone used by Rizwan Farook, one of the husband and wife shooters in the December rampage in California, in which 14 people were killed and 22 wounded. US officials said last week they were hopeful they would be able to unlock the iPhone without the help from Apple.
Alright, now it's time to see all the feedback that you sent in on Twitter, Facebook and YouTube.
And with that, we wrap up this edition of Social Connection. Do keep writing to us with your feedback, your comments, and all that you would like to see on Social Connection. Email us on ddnews.com@gmail.com or on our Twitter handle, ddnewslive, or perhaps our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel as well. Lots of options.
That's right, and we hope that you enjoyed the show as much as we did in presenting it to you. But before we sign off, we leave you with an interesting video. See you again next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Cuando estaba yo no podía vivir, me quería morir. Un niño es una responsabilidad muy grande, uno no sabe qué hacer. Tampoco mis papás me apoyaban, ¿cierto? Como yo estudiaba, me fui a estudiar y yo en el bolso llevaba, ya no llevaba los cuadernos, ¿no? Sino que llevé una ropa y me fui en botas. Iba llorando porque ya no los encontraba, pero llegué y me dijeron que por qué quería ingresar, me dijeron. Y me dijeron, esto no es bueno, esto acá es duro. Me fueron claros conmigo. Hubo un día, bombardearon, botaron bombas. Hubo una que nos botaron cerca y no explotó. Si por todos los lados están los soldados, y si por dónde iba a salir, y bombas, y rafagueadas, y el helicóptero, y todo estaba encima. Me sentaba a llorar. Yo decía, no, yo tengo que salir, yo no me quiero morir, yo no quiero ir a la cárcel, yo no quiero. No sé cómo salí porque estaba lleno de soldados ahí, no sé cómo salí, pero salí. Uno se encierra si uno quiere. Y de mi hija, me perdí los mejores años porque la dejé cuando era pequeña. El tiempo que pasó ya no se puede recuperar y